Hello, I'm Darren.
And I'm Debbie. And this is
Mishka.
Mishka. And Victory
is in there, hiding.
His strawberry hat.
And welcome back to our channel.
Yeah. And it's Sherlock Friday.
Yep.
Woohoo!
Yep, Sherlock Fun Fact Friday.
It's alright, I've just removed it from a cup handle, people. Yeah, it's Fun Fact Friday, and we've also got a word of the week for you.
Yep.
And the challenge is to use it in the week at some point. Some of them are going to be a lot easier than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, we thought, why not? Where are you going? As I had a tittling of a tittle, we thought, that's a lot of tittles, isn't it? Yeah. We thought, well, why not have a word of the week? Because, you know, hey.
Yep.
What? Yes? You want one? Right, before we start our word of the week, we're going to let little Miss Mishka go and run around with Earbud, who is rolling around
on the floor.
Yeah. And no, we weren't up at 6 o'clock this morning with Earbud and Bonnie on the bed playing.
No.
No,
it was 5:30, yeah.
Yeah, it was 5:30.
Right. Back in a sec. Right, what we've decided we're going to be doing is do a couple of Sherlock ones. We can do a different variety of ones, so you get like 2 of them. So
yeah,
so you get a better chance, and it's over a week as well. So
I thought 2 questions wasn't going to be stretching you
No.
too much. We also have 2 anagrams per week. This is what we're thinking.
Yeah.
This is what we're thinking at the moment. Obviously, it depends on very much. He's an attention seeker this morning, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, it very much depends on how it flows and everything else. And we also have 3 different facts for you.
Yeah.
Now, actually, we have got another 4 books, something like that.
Something on it.
This is what we're saying about there are tittles in tittles in this title.
Yes.
The Weird World of Words, which is basically words for things you didn't know that happened.
Yeah. But a tittle is the dots. The go. Is it the dots? No, it's the lines that go across the top of T's.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No.
There you go. You've learned one, but that isn't the one you're going to learn.
Or was it the dots that goes over the eyes?
I wouldn't learn that one at all until
I can't remember.
checks.
It was a little while ago I read it.
This one is a Book of Old-Fashioned Superstitions, Black Cats and Evil Eyes.
Yep.
That's a little rude word. Urban Legends, Conspiracy Theories and Old Wives' Tales. And Pop Goes the Weasel, Secret Meanings of Nursery Rhymes. Now, as I said, we've actually got 2 pub name ones. But I thought with things like that, with pub names and whatnot, rather than picking one out, we may have to go to that extent at some point. But I thought, well, if you want to know the meaning behind a name of a pub, ask us. You can also
find it in there.
One of the reasons I'm doing so many of these this week, because we'll probably stick to about 2, to be honest, is because we haven't got a question and answer bit. So you can ask us questions.
It was ask us anything bits on it, but obviously we've got no questions yet because this is the first week.
That's right. Please don't make it a hard question, like how many hamsters have you had in your entire life? Because I couldn't give you an actual number on that. I could give you estimates of bits, but not, numbers.
Also, no questions that are likely to get us struck off from eBay. From eBay? From YouTube.
But yeah, I mean, the idea is that we should have done this last night, but we're a little bit grotty and tired, and so we're doing it this morning, which means that hopefully it'll go up on time. Anyway, I'm going to start you off with your word for the week.
Yep.
I was going to finish you with this, but I've changed my mind. Right. It's Adalaster. It means Adalaster. It means unknown star in Greek. This is the name given to the newly discovered planets awaiting classification by botanists. So the section this is on is the name of things you didn't know had names. Right.
You'll try and use that in a sentence.
Yeah. It could be quite simple. I mean, you could turn around to somebody that's a bit of a know-it-all and you know what they call those planets before they're classified. When they turn around and say, no, don't know, or make a weird guess, you can turn around and say, oh, I know. So there you go. But no.
Sort of, it made me think of Blackadder. Then we have Samuel Johnson goes in there. He's going to check out the writer of the Bible, wrote a dictionary even. They say how intelligent he is. I say, I'm compunctious to cause you such pericopopulation. There's a common word around our way.
So the other thing is, I mean, I figure, because you know how much I love my armchair detectives and things like that, and I know quite a few of you are in the old Marple think tank as well, sort of thing, for use of a better word. So I figure, well, knowledge is power, and with Sherlock especially, he has so many useless facts in his head. So I thought we could try and retrain our brains a bit.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Are you going to go for a Sherlock?
We'll go for a Sherlock one now. We shall go for this one first. Weeps.
Weeps. Oh, excuse me. That's a good start, isn't it?
Right. The statuette. Holmes set aside his newspaper and looked up at me over breakfast one morning. Do you suppose you have a head for what business, Watson? I dare say I'll be able to pick it up, I replied. Holmes tapped the paper thoughtfully. Let us suppose you're a seller of antiquities. You have in your possession a rather pleasant statuette. A distinguished elderly gentleman comes into your premises and declares that the piece is familiar to him. He purchases it enthusiastically, not even blinking at your £100 price tag. Once the transaction is complete, the gentleman informs you that the piece is one of a pair, fairly valued by yourself as a singleton, but worth many times that amount if coupled with its mate. He offers to pay you a massive £1,000 if you can obtain the other, and tells you his hotel. He leaves, and naturally you begin making inquiries about the statuette. Some days later, a fellow comes by with an identical companion to the statuette you sold. He said that he's heard you're looking for his piece, and he's willing to part with it for £300. What say you? Does that sound like a good deal? What say you indeed?
Well, I think I know the answer to that one, but then...
Yeah, I do.
Not a bad one to start on, though.
No.
But if you think about it, if I'm right, it's fairly obvious, but it doesn't mean it is fairly obvious to everybody, because everybody's brains work differently.
That's right.
So,
so now you've got...
your first one of them.
Yeah.
Right, so we go to Pop Goes the Weasel, which is meanings behind nursery rhymes and such. Now, we've probably all heard of an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but it was actually a rhyme. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Apple in the morning, doctor's warning. Roast apple at night, starves the doctors outright. Eat an apple at bed, knock the doctor on the head. Three each day, 7 days a week, ruddy apples, ruddy cheek, which goes to show you healthy. The most surprising thing about this rhyme is it wasn't invented by the apple industry, or even an association of greengrocers, if there is such a... Can you imagine? There probably is, you know.
Yeah. Well, it probably was. Yeah.
Well, this is it. Yeah. It involves during the 16th century, and has been used ever since. Sometimes rather despairingly, as part of a parental propaganda to get children to eat their greens. Well, surely it's to get children to eat their fruit or apples, really.
Yeah, it's still greens, aren't it? Yeah.
Not if it's a red apple. But what's interesting is the deep distrust of doctors and the medical science it shows. Its advice is that doctors are to be avoided at all costs. They are only looking to make money out of you. Folk medicine, what we now called herbalism, was at odds with the official medicine, often prescribed remedies that mirrored the results that you'd be looking for. If you want a rosy, ruddy face, then eat an apple, a red one, that is. Green cheeks might necessitate a visit to the doctor after all. I think that's something as well that spins off from that. I think you can get belly aches from apples that are too green was something that was said. So I wouldn't mind betting that was an offshoot of that possibly.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, obviously, most of us have heard of an apple a day keeps the doctors away. In fact,
I didn't know the rest of it though. I hadn't heard the rest of it before.
I've never heard the rest of it before. So it's obviously something that's gone with the arc sort of thing. But I mean, in the 16th century, you've got to bear in mind as well, you paid to have the doctor.
Yeah.
And there was a mistrust because you had people with the herbal remedies, and they were really good remedies, a lot of them.
Well, 16th century, of course, I was still using leeches then, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, in actual fact, I would say the experts back there would have been very much so the herbalists. Or witches, as we also know.
Yeah, I mean,
referred to.
Christ, I mean, even Victorian bits, they did trepanning.
Yeah.
Which was drilling a hole into the skull to let the pressure release.
Which is, I've also heard
all the evil spirits out.
Yeah, that's another one I've heard on that. So it's amazing. From one sentence of what people our age sort of thing, I don't know whether it's something that's still said to younger people, but from people our age that have sort of grown up with, there's actually a lot more to it than that. And then you've got offshoots that you don't have to jump too far as well. And it's sort of like, so I liked that one.
Yeah.
I did, yes. Right, what you got for us?
We've got another Sherlock Holmes one, just to get your little brain cells, the little grey cells going. It's a really bad Belgian accent, but there you go.
That really is, yeah.
The Waits. Mrs. Hudson paused in the doorway to our rooms. My cousin Amy's youngest turned 3 yesterday, she declared. Oh, congratulations, I said. Even as I said it, it occurred to me that was a slightly fatuous comment. Thank you, she replied. To mark the occasion, Amy and her husband Ben decided to measure the youngster's weight. They managed to find a public weighing machine, but from then on, things become somewhat troublesome. The family dog, Rebel, was with them, and true to his name, he refused to take the matter seriously. In the end, the best that Amy could do was get both child and husband weighed together with the dog for a grand total of £180. An impressive weight for a 3-year-old, I observed. Yes, well, I was able to ascertain from Amy that Ben and the child together outweighed Rebel by £162. And that the dog weighed just 30% of the child's weight. What is the weight of the child?
Maths.
Yeah.
I worked in accounts, love. I shut off. Plus, I'm not sure actually. What a typical 3-year-old back then as well, because I mean they were shorter as well, weren't they? But again, you've got to ask. Well, obviously the answer's in the detail, but I'll reread that at some point. But no, it does lead the question as before, really, are these based purely in the time that they're questioning or not? I mean, it's sort of irrelevant, to be honest, because it's got all the mathematics there for you to work it out, but it's just the first thing that sort of popped into my head, and unfortunately when something pops into my head, it's stuck there. Darren's trying desperately to work it out. So I'm going to go on to... That's...
Yeah. Go on.
Goldilocks. Right, this actually... We'd all heard of the saying, or most of us have heard of the saying, revenge is a dish served cold.
Best served cold, yeah.
Yeah, best served cold. Thing is, where it came from, and I've heard, this has got an inkling of a thing in something I've watched, but it's actually the seafood effect. It started off with it didn't start off with a lady called June, but let's just say her name is June. Her husband Mike left her to start a life with her closest friend. Winner. She then received a letter from the divorce lawyer asking for possession of the house so that Mike and her old best friend could move in. Really? That was when she planned her revenge. She replied to the letter offering vacant possession on the condition the house was sold and the proceeds split between her and Mike. Which, to be fair, is perfectly fair, you know. Yeah. The evening before she was due to move out, June invited her real friends around for a lavish last supper. The following afternoon, after the removal men had left, she carefully unscrewed the ends of the metal curtain pole in all of the rooms and filled the cavities with spoonfuls of caviar and half-eaten prawns. Why would you half-eat a prawn? Anyway,
I heard about this the other day. Someone was saying they did it.
I know.
Not with caviar. They did it with. They did it with shellfish bits.
Shellfish bits.
Or bits of fish and bits.
There was also a case of in Victorian times they'd sew or they'd make a small hole in the mattress, fill it with dung. Actually, I think that was from Lord of the Rings. I heard, not Lord of the Rings. I haven't watched that yet. I know. Don't be cross on me. On Game of Thrones, and it was Arya. She put dung in her sister's bed, and she couldn't work out where the smell was coming from. So either way, I mean, there's a lot of connotations, but that's essentially where it comes from. Is people would put things in. I've heard of one like in the linings of curtains as well, and bits like that. Obviously, because of a lingering smell, and it just got worse and worse and worse. They paid to have the house cleaned from top to bottom. The air vents, floorboards checked for dead rats. Air purification installed in every room. But the smell just grew worse. And before long, the workmen looking for the source of the stench were refusing to enter the house, as potential buyers were failing to make it past the front door before they fled. The estate agent suggested taking the property off the market until the cause of the smell could be located. Eventually, the couple had to retreat to a hotel before taking out a huge loan and buying another house. Soon afterwards, as chance would have it, June phoned Mike to inquire how the house sale was progressing and listened as her ex-husband made up a story about the depressed housing market and how he had been unable to find a buyer. He was amazed when his former wife offered to buy his share for a substantially reduced amount. Seizing the chance to get rid of the burden of the property, I mean, you can guess where it goes from here, because I mean they've actually managed to make 3 pages out of this. But the point is,
the bit that I heard about it, because they moved out.
Yeah.
And when they moved out, they took the curtain poles with them as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So they took it to the new place as well.
I mean, so yeah, that's why revenge is a bit.
I've also heard about one where left a dead fish behind a radiator.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, that's something that it did say about, because obviously they go into more detail, but essentially I've just been picking out price points and also regaling and Darren regaling you with ones we've heard of. Maybe you've heard of other ones as well. Maybe you know somebody that's done it.
Yeah.
You know, in those circumstances, good on her.
Yeah.
Or if it was the other way around, good on him. You know, it's just the way it is, isn't it? It's a little bit of karma.
Yeah.
Now then.
Talking of karma,
Talking of karma.
Superstitions.
A book of old-fashioned superstitions. Black cats and evil eyes. Evil eye! Right. Horseshoes. Now, you're going to be thinking the same as me. That you face them upwards. Otherwise, the luck pours out. Anyway, that's what I knew of horseshoes. There's so much more. Horseshoes can be found hanging in the doors of homes across the world and are thought to ward off evil. One source of this belief in Western world is described in the true legend of St. Dunstan and the Devil, written in 1871 by Edward G. Flight, which tells the story of a first-century blacksmith monk who later became Archbishop of Canterbury and one of England's best-loved saints. Legend has it that during days in the foundry, Dunstan was asked by a man to make some horseshoes for his own feet. As Dunstan prepared the man's feet for shoeing, he noticed that they were cloven-hoofed, and realising with horror that his customer was the devil, exhibiting a fearless befitting a future saint, he drove the nails into the soft centre of the hoof, causing the devil so much agony that from that day on he didn't dare go near horseshoes. I keep tripping over my own words. But this is the thing. It predates not only St. Dunstan but Christianity itself. Hindu texts used Sanskrit word yoni to describe the sacred temple of the womb, representative of the goddess Shataki, which was believed to be the origin of all and is depicted in ancient stone carvings, paintings and architecture as downward pointing horseshoes. So those were downward pointing ones. It doesn't stop there actually, because it was also an important pagan symbol representing the crescent moon and the ancient moon goddess Artemis and Diana. In Arabic countries, the horseshoe is incorporated into amulets that protect against the evil eye, while British, Celtic and Germanic folklore of horseshoes nailed above the door was used to defend homes from witchcraft. Now this is probably one of my favourite bits. It was in the West as more secular idea of bringing good luck was taken precedence over the need to ward off evil. The positioning of the horseshoe has become significant. This is where it gets really, really quite intriguing. She says as her mouth dries up completely. In the UK and in the US, they're most often hung with the open end up, which is what I was taught as a child anyway, as said. And I've just lost where I am. It is worth it, I promise, people. I promise. Right. Folklore traditionalists warn that it encourages trouble, making pixies to use them as seats. So you shouldn't have them directly up like that, because apparently naughty pixies will sit on them and cause you trouble. But you don't want them upside down either, because the luck will run out. So what they suggest is having them so the open end's up but tilted slightly, which means it's uncomfortable for the pixies to sit on, so they can't cause you trouble. Your luck still stays in because it's not pouring out. But I couldn't, or if you really want real sacred good luck against the devil, you do so by keeping the horseshoe in place with 7 nails. So
7 nails?
7 nails. Oh. 7's supposed to be quite a strong magic number anyway, but yeah, so...
Well, 7 seems...
I was thinking,
7 deadly
one.
sins.
I'll start them off with the...
7,
this is
7 levels of hell.
7 lords of leaping.
7 levels of hell.
Oh. But no, the point is that I was thinking, I'll just start them off on a quick, simple horseshoe. up so it doesn't pour out luck.
Mm.
And I was reading it and I thought, I can't really leave that bit out of information because that's actually quite interesting. And I know it was a little bit long-winded, but most of that is because my tongue tends to fall over my teeth when I'm speaking or reading.
Yeah, she's breaking the teeth in for someone else.
Feels like it sometimes. But no, so there you go. That's your interesting facts. And remember, your word of the day, because I don't, is Adelaster, which is spelled Adelaster. And again, it means it's what's the name's given to an undiscovered planet before somebody names the planet. Right. Now this leads us on to our last segment, which I was going to do two of, but because it's run on a little, I thought I may give you one rather than two, and I just have to remember, because I've just gone onto the wrong thing on my phone entirely. Does anybody else do that? They think they know their phone and really they've got no clue whatsoever. I mean, literally. Just saying. Right, so, yeah. Right, so I just need...
I'm just zooming it up.
I will give you two because you're going to... What's it? I'll read them out afterwards. So if Darren zoomed in, actually, you can probably read them and the clues.
All right. Anthem. What's that? Anthem rig. Clue, you might wake up in cold sweats.
These are Halloween based, these ones.
And glitter pose. Things that go bump in the night.
So yeah, and so there's two anagrams, which I'm quite looking forward to having a go at as well. It's quite nice because they do the answer bits separately, so you don't have to look at them. But yeah, other than that, I hope you've enjoyed a nice cup of tea or coffee or maybe a little bit of wine. Don't dunk biscuits if it's in wine because it's revolting.
Yeah.
And it's given you something to think about. It's given you a bit of knowledge, useless knowledge that you didn't necessarily have.
Yeah.
But I want to hear from you guys as well. We really do. You know, you can ask us anything. If it's too personal, we're not comfortable answering it, we will tell you. Yeah. Politely, obviously, because, you know, how do you know? But we're pretty much open books, as it were. It's like you might ask me, why have I got two biscuits sitting on the corner of my desk and a packet of open pretzels? Not for me. Put it that way. If they get hungry, they've got snacks there they can have a bit of. There's also fruit later on in the day as well. So basically they know they can help themselves. It's not something they're allowed very often, but to be perfectly honest, I think these biscuits have never seen sugar in their life. So, you know, I think they're pretty much safe with it. But yeah, they only have little bits anyway, and then I chuck them. But it's what keeps them happy. But I was hoping you'd get a little bit of a visitation from... Oh, look at him. How can nobody... Honestly, ignore the Rice Krispies, but how could anybody not love that face? He was having snogs this morning, weren't you? I've taken away his cuddly because he sucks and chews at tissues while he's in bed, don't you? Because you're a babby. But he knows you're there because he's sort of like, there's your bit. Yeah. There you go, darling. So anyway, guys, we're always interested in hearing about you and your crazy animals as well. Yeah. And or crazy relatives, you know. I've got plenty, so why shouldn't anybody else? And yeah, we're really looking forward to kicking it off. Give us a chance though. If there's bits you don't like or you think that, you know, too many, you know, obviously everybody's going to be different and looking at different things from this. And you know, this is just supposed to be a bit of a fun, relaxed talk to you guys,
so
catch up with you,
we've
tell you
got,
anything that happens in the week and bits.
Got a couple of bits coming up.
Oh,
like Monday and Wednesday. We've got
including one of our new crates.
We've got a new crate. We've got Friar's Cauldron for January 2022. And we've got a haul from a shop called Grindstore.
Yeah.
We got a few bits
I found it because I was looking at calendars, actually. And seriously, you are going to have some serious swoonage, especially Lolly Wing. On one item in particular. But no, I really apologise, guys, because we still haven't worn our new Christmas T-shirts because I can't remember what Darren did with it and I keep forgetting to put it on when I get up.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't in there when I asked before, so that's probably why. But no. Anyway, so, yeah. The T-shirts worth waiting for. I will mention when they are the ones we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tell us how your week's going. Give us a few guesses.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes, and we'll learn from you and vice versa. Because let's face it, we don't really know what we're doing, apart from the fact that we're sort of doing a little murder mystery club and trying to improve our marbles.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah. So, till next time, have a good one.
Bye, wow, ham fam. Be different.